Well, hello, Endow ladies. Simone here, and I am with the lovely Catherine McMahon. Am I saying your last name right?
McMahon.
McMahon. Okay, see, I knew it. And
Don't worry about it. Everybody pronounces it differently, so it's grand.
Well, I'm so happy to talk to you because, as you know, when I asked you, in the United States anyway, we love St. Patrick and Irish Catholicism, and I have to show you this, Catherine. Look at my new socks.
Oh, that's very cool.
Is it?
Yeah.
So the podcast listeners can't see it, but it's a little kitty cat with St. Patrick's and shamrock. Okay, so what do I have to ask before we get into all the serious stuff? What do Irish people think about this? Do they do this, or is this an American Irish thing?
No, I think we have it here as well. I think it's very kind of opportunity to buy all the jingle jangles. So yeah, no problem. Yeah. It's grand.
I'm so glad. And our producer, I should mention, Anne of this podcast, is just so excited for this interview because she could listen to your voice all day long.
Right. I'll have to put on the best Irish accent I can think.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, so exciting. But actually, Catherine, we met through Father John Henry, correct?
We did. Yes. I just emailed him at one stage because I had just finished his book, Home Again. And I thought it was such a beautiful book. I don't know him personally at all, but I just decided to email him and thank him for the book. And then he reached out and said, would you like to meet Simone and Endow? And I said, yeah, sure. So that's how it all started, really.
He's very, well, he's been on this podcast, it'll be twice now in May, but he, and the YouTube channel, but he is, you wouldn't imagine him as a super connector type. He's kind of very humble and, quiet on the quieter side.
Yeah.
But he has this gift of super connecting.
Yeah, he does.
He loves to put people together that think that would be friends or a good connection. So I'm very
grateful
that he put us in touch.
He's a major networker by the looks of things. Yeah.
Yes, but yeah, his books are. He's actually my priest, so I go to his masses, and it's such a huge gift. I mean, he preaches prophetically in my life. Yeah, and I think a lot of other people feel that way too. Mm-hmm. So what did the book do for you? What the Home Again book?
I just liked how profound it was. I mean, in a sense, I really like Jacques Philippe's books. I don't know if you know them.
Love Jacques.
But I thought he took a step further in kind of understanding in a deeper sense the psychological aspect of your spiritual life. Mm-hmm. And then I loved the way he tied in Saint Josemaria. Mm-hmm. And took it from a different angle than I would normally see from Saint Josemaria. So it was nice to have that deeper understanding. Yeah, I really, really like the book. He really writes well. Yeah. He's a lovely use of language and a lovely kind of spiritual language that is very modern.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has that gift of connecting like modern day problems in like the context of a tradition, but in like such a profound, simple, humble way.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that. So yeah, Norbertines, I think they're Opus Dei cooperators, and you're converting a bit through Opus Dei. Is that right? Do you
Yes, I'm in Opus Dei. Yeah.
Explain a little bit about who you are before you jump into all your ministries.
Okay, so basically, I'm a numeri of Opus Dei, which is a person who's decided to be celibate. A vocation, naturally, because it's not something that you choose, like joining a tennis group or whatever. I joined when I was 20, and I won't tell you my age now. But yeah, it's been fantastic. And I work full-time for Opus Dei right now. Beforehand, I used to work for a marketing company. And I focused principally on youth activities and also other online platforms. So that's how we connected up a little bit, because I have an online platform here in Ireland. Mm-hmm. And that's how it all kind of panned out over the years.
I either didn't know that or I forgot about it, but that is very cool. And do you happen to know Angela Reckhart out here in Los Angeles?
No.
Okay.
Is she in Opus Dei? Is she?
She's a numeri too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, to be honest, it's not like there's overall there's like 90,000 people of Opus Dei.
Yeah.
So it's hard to keep track in a sense.
Yeah.
I think we kind of keep it local, like we're in Ireland and everything like that. And
Yeah.
granted, okay, and go over to Rome the odd time and
I
stuff.
like that. I think our church, when everybody says, "Oh, the church is so small, what a small world," I don't like that. I think we should be so big that we don't even know each other.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's great when you don't know people. You're kind of going, God, that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's very consoling when you have those experiences of like, oh, of course I know you, and you know so and so and so and so. But I'd like to evangelize so hard that there are saints everywhere that we've never heard of, and
So true. It is so true.
I don't want to know everybody. I want us to be bigger. Come on, church, let's get here to the depths, to to the ends of all nations, as our Lord
That's true.
Missioned us. So anyway, well, I would love to talk to you about a little bit about. I mean, Ireland is exotic to me and intriguing, and the story of, and we're celebrating St. Patrick's this month, so
yes, St. Patrick. Good old St. Patrick.
Yeah.
It's funny actually, because when you showed me your socks, your St. Patrick Day socks or whatever, I mean, it is true that poor old St. Patrick has a bit of a kind of a kitsch sort of look about him. He's kind of plasticized a bit over the years, and I think in reality he is a very interesting character. But some people tend to forget that St. Patrick wasn't the first to evangelize Ireland. That's a helpful thing. Like, it wasn't as if he arrived in Ireland and everybody was non-Christian and things like that. There were various attempts beforehand, but I think he certainly maxed out on evangelization across the country. And also I think it's because of his confessions that are, there's a book that he wrote, which is very interesting actually, because he wrote it as a result of persecutions, and accusations, false accusations against him and everything like that. So it wasn't as if he wrote the confessions just for his own, musings or whatever like that. Right, it was to defend himself. So it is interesting when you read his confessions, because you realize he was a man who really struggled and really suffered for the faith.
Yeah, real person, real struggles.
So he was a slave in reality. He came over to Ireland as a slave.
Right. He wasn't even Irish, right? I mean, he was.
No, he was. You could say he was British.
Yes, but not Irish. Yeah.
Yeah, not Irish. Yeah. He's from our neighboring island. So he was caught by Irish pirates and was brought over, and he was a slave in Ireland for 6 years as a shepherd, and then he eventually escaped. But when he went back, I mean, he realized, I think, when you see his confessions, he really built up his faith over the years when he was here, as a slave.
Right.
He prayed a lot, and he really deepened in his faith. So I think certainly when he went back and he decided to be ordained a priest, he felt a definite calling to go back to Ireland and evangelize Ireland. So eventually he did come back, and thank God he did, because we're all Catholic because of him.
And did he come back as a bishop? Was he a bishop when he went?
No.
Okay, so that was
no.
Okay.
Yeah, he just came as a priest.
And then became bishop.
Yeah. So over time, he established himself, and in a sense, the kind of key moment for him, or things that we do remember about him, is the shamrock, and that's why the shamrock is kind of like the emblem of Ireland, because he explained the Holy Trinity through the shamrock. Yep. Mainly, obviously, nobody could read, so it was the only way to explain anything, really.
See, even all these people unwittingly wearing St. Patrick's Day shamrock socks have no idea that they're wearing
they're railing the Blessed Trinity.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah, so it is. I don't know if it's the same tradition in the States, but in Ireland, when we go to Mass on St. Patrick's Day, we wear like a tuft of shamrock on our lapel.
Oh, I don't know. I wonder if like neighborhoods in the United States, like in Detroit or like in New York, I imagine that could be possible. Like I don't know, because I didn't grow up near any kind of like neat ethnic neighborhoods or Irish neighborhoods, but I wonder if that's a tradition there. So I don't want to speak to it. I bet my Irish Catholic friends would know.
Yeah, I'd say certain. I'd say a lot of things were kind of incorporated into the Irish American culture, you know. But certainly when I was living over in Spain for a couple of years, my mother put real shamrocks in a package and sent them over to me, which wasn't such a good idea because when I opened them up, they were all mush. Oh. And I was like, I was going, oh, that was a great idea. Anyway, it was nice.
I want to do that this year. I want to start doing that. My St. Patrick's tradition, I love St. Patrick's breastplate prayer.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful.
It's so beautiful, and it like moves me to tears. That part of, especially that part about Christ to my right, Christ to my left.
Yeah.
I mean, it just, I can cry just recalling it now.
It's very real.
It's very real, and I love it. But I always make an Irish breakfast.
Oh really? Do you? What's an Irish breakfast?
I mean, gosh, maybe this is maybe I'm deluding myself. But here's what I've been calling an Irish breakfast. You tell me.
Okay.
Obviously, a Guinness with the breakfast.
Really? You have Guinness for breakfast?
Well, you have to if you're having an Irish breakfast for St. Patrick's Day.
Oh my God.
I've got a lot of Irish people in my life. They like that. They like this.
Yeah, you're really going strong in it. Okay, so you have Guinness for breakfast, and then
sometimes I make homemade soda bread. Other times I'll just go to the store and get the soda bread that's never as good. And then the Irish butter. It's got to be
okay.
Yeah. And then eggs, and don't you have to have roasted tomatoes and mushrooms?
Yeah, we do the fry, which is basically it's sausages, rashers.
No, bangers, because over here they sell bangers just for St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, like the full fry, the full Irish breakfast as it's called is basically sausages, rashers, fried egg, toast. Sometimes people throw in beans.
No, I have the baked beans. I always have.
Yeah, baked beans. Yeah.
Oh,
it's a heavy breakfast. Then you have black pudding, which is quite a heavy number.
Some years that happens. Some years it doesn't, depending.
Yeah, but definitely the Guinness. Now, I've never had Guinness in the morning for St. Patrick's Day, but that's definitely a good start. It's great for iron, just so you know, Guinness.
Really?
Yeah, it's very good iron supplement if you're anemic in any way. Not that I would encourage it or whatever, but yeah.
Really. So that's the Irish breakfast I make every year, and I really.
That's brilliant.
I got your stamp of approval. I got a real Irish.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. Yeah. Especially the soda bread. That's very good.
Yeah, it's so delicious.
It's very nice, especially if you toast it. It's very nice.
Yeah, it's amazing. And the
grilled with butter. Yeah.
Kerry butter. Kerrygold butter.
Yeah, Kerrygold.
Yeah, you gotta have that.
Product placement.
Exactly. Okay, so then on to your unique feminine genius. Social media platform, or not social media platforms, are more than social, they're actual communities. So tell us.
We've kind of multiplied them over time. It's kind of like, I feel like they're kind of proliferating. It's funny, actually. I'll explain the origins a little bit because I think it would help to kind of understand where they all came from, in a sense.
Yeah.
But I was saying to you beforehand, I think in our previous conversation, we were talking about Catholicism in Ireland currently as it stands, and I was saying I wouldn't really want to go down the route of explaining it all that much because obviously
not like American Catholicism is doing that well either. So
so it's kind of a semi-sensitive topic, but I'd say it's the kind of same sort of challenges I'd say in the States, only that I think in Ireland, because it's such a tiny country, small, the impact is a little bit greater, I think, because everybody feels it in a sense. But I think over the last 10 years, let's say, there's been a couple of things that have really helped. And certainly I think the moment for us, well, I don't know, for me anyway, was when Pope Francis came to Ireland. And Pope hadn't come to Ireland since the 1970s. And there's various theories why that happened and everything like that, because normally in other countries, he would have been more frequently visiting.
Right.
But anyway, he came to Ireland in 2018, and it was the World Meeting of Families. And I think it was a real kind of moment for us with regards just seeing what we could do for the Catholic Church in Ireland, just seeing like a snapshot of it, especially kind of like the final mass with the Pope there. And his homily really rung home to us, you know, because he talked about the saints of Ireland, Saint Columba, who traveled and was a missionary and left the shores of Ireland and everything. And there was a real sense of kind of a united spirit. So I think as a result of that, we kind of looked at, I kind of grouped together a couple of friends, and we kind of did a kind of a focus group on it. And we thought about how to revive, in a sense, the image of the Catholic faith in Ireland in a modern sense. Because it's funny, one of my friends said to me, when you Google Catholic, Irish Catholic, okay, in Ireland, the Google images are all old monastic settlements, like they're the Celtic cross, they're, you know, it's almost like 11th century, and that's what you get, you know. And that's not accurate at all. Yeah. So we thought we would love to kind of bring it forward and kind of present more of a real current situation of what the Catholic faith is. Not that other people are not making huge efforts and things of that kind of sort, but we decided to do something specifically for women. And I think a little bit along the lines of Endow, we wanted to intellectualize the faith. We wanted to help people be informed of the faith, rather than just resorting to pietistic practices only. Not that pietistic practices are, you know, bad thing, but
the gospel gets reduced to the pietistic practices.
Yeah, devotional.
Yeah, almost superstitious or very moralistic.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think if you don't intellectualize your faith, and if you don't understand it in the same way as you understand your own professional background or anything like that, like an adult faith, it does reduce itself to superstition over time, even though you wouldn't want it to happen like that. So we wanted something for women that was really grounded in that sort of sense intellectually, not just kind of something nice and pretty, if you get my meaning.
Right, and that's the other extreme too. So there's like the moralistic, like this is all about rules or these pietistic actions, and then there's the emotions that, you know, or just like country club, you know, country club.
Yeah, just kind of a nice soft approach, which has I think it's very attractive in itself, and it does help. But I think especially like Endow, you know, this sort of sense of really deepening in what is the church's teaching and actually it trickling down into your everyday life.
Right. Things I've appreciated so much about Pope Francis, I can't remember which of his writings this is in, but he talks about, you know, unless our accompaniments of each other, you know, because we're existential orphans. Like obviously outside the church there's a lostness, but within the church there's an existential orphanhood going on. Unless our accompaniment with each other is pointing to Christ, then we've reduced the faith, he says, to a sort of therapy.
Yes.
And that's what we don't want to do. So, you know, marrying faith and reason, right, which has a beautiful intellectual tradition.
Yes,
that's a real way of accompanying people, not just something for like a temporary like band-aid, but actually pointing to Christ for their own spiritual renewal and transformation and ultimately their happiness. So I appreciate what you're doing so much in that, and that was a priority.
And I think also we wanted to really, I don't know, I think there was a study done in the States, and I think Word on Fire have used it with regards to the percentages of the Catholic Church in the States, the 7% and the 82%. Does this ring a bell? And I think certainly we looked at that as well, and we thought, look, we really want to reach out to the peripheries in that sort of sense, and just see how we can reach out to that 82%, how we can make the Catholic faith approachable and doable and explainable, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a question we talk about all the time at Endow, right? Because for women who already in their hearts and minds perceive themselves as faithful daughters of the magisterium and would be like interested in an Endow study, like I am interested in what John Paul II has to say about women.
Yeah.
I'm interested in Edith Stein. I'm interested. That it's crucial that kind of intellectual and spiritual formation is available. But then what about the rest of the church? How do we make this attractive
Mm.
To women in the church that first of all don't even know the church has anything to say about women,
Yeah, exactly.
and has already bought into a secular worldview that the church is anti-women. Let's go that extreme.
Yeah.
Or they're just kind of going to mass every Sunday because of that kind of like pietistic discipline that grandma told them with, but they haven't really engaged their faith. They don't even think that the faith has anything to say to them about their actual needs, their actual life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, I'm with you there.
Yeah, no, it is. It's interesting, and I think what we certainly tried to bring on board quite a few women to contribute in that sort of regard, like writing blog posts and really thinking about how their faith impacts in their lives in a positive sense on a daily basis, not something extraordinary,
That's very Opus Dei, right? That's very Opus Dei.
Yes. Yeah. The kind of the imbuing of, your faith in ordinary life and not kind of varnishing it on top, if you get my meaning. I mean, I don't know, it can be varnished on top or whatever, but that kind of sense of just seeing Christ in your work and
that he's
Christ
present
in you every day.
He's present in the ordinary, and
yes, that's it.
can make beautiful that which is ordinary.
Yeah.
That's
so to
awesome.
unite the two.
So tell me, so it's one of them is Beloved, your communities, and one is Hearts and Minds.
Yeah, so one of them is Beloved. So Beloved is more for kind of college young professionals. So kind of 20s, 30s. It's hard to kind of like draw the line actually, because there's kind of an overlap. And Hearts and Minds is kind of 30s up, cool. And it would be kind of, more geared to, I suppose, when you've kind of settled in life. I hate the word settled, but,
a more stable form of life going on.
Thank you. Yes. And I think Hearts and Minds has been actually quite interesting because we have started a podcast in that one, whereas Beloved doesn't have a podcast. And we've really enjoyed it, actually. We've enjoyed the podcasts because we started off, Maura and myself started off initially at the beginning of lockdown, which was kind of March last year. And we didn't have the proper mics. So we ended up kind of sitting in a wardrobe. I know that sounds ridiculous, but we were trying
I have very professional, like you'd recognize their name, friends who are doing their awesome podcasts in their closets.
Yeah, because we were trying to reduce the echo. So we were sitting in a wardrobe together trying to do this podcast. And it actually was very helpful because as it got hotter and hotter, we were saying, listen, we really have to finish this podcast because we're boiling up, So that was a funny experience at the beginning, but then we bought microphones that were better, thank God, and things got a little bit better as the months went by. But it certainly it's been very providential. I think when we started those, it was like literally after the World Meeting of Families, we said, okay, let's do something here. We really need to do something. And we launched the platforms and everything like that. And then lockdown happened. So it was really, it was totally providential.
Yeah. I mean, you just didn't even know how helpful it was going to be, especially in light of quarantine. Like it might have been fruitful without it, but when, these platforms became more and more desired because people were alone. And
it's fascinating how it's really helped people and really accompanied them, which is great. I'm delighted.
What have you perceived besides just nourishing your own life and just enjoying it? What have been the specific fruits, if you're able to pinpoint them, from the Hearts and Minds?
I think what the specific fruits I'd say is the kind of the feedback you get from people who aren't practicing their faith.
Oh, that's awesome.
And actually really enjoying the podcasts, really getting a lot out of it. Now we straddle between life and faith quite a bit in the podcasts.
Right.
But certainly that has been really, really good to see, because that was really the intention we wanted.
That's awesome. So like the thresholds of conversion, you are actually, would you say that you're like building trust with these women?
Yeah, I'd say we are. I mean, in a sense,
that they're not,
it's funny.
Their faith.
Yeah. Yeah, there is an element of that. I mean, there is a sense of, I think the sense of actually seeing the faith as something that because I guess it happens here I say here in the States, I'm kind of virtually in the States now, but that the faith can be projected in the media in a very negative sense.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And so that's the only thing that people are receiving with regards to the Catholic faith, or that the Catholic faith is retro, like, you know, a thing of the past, no longer important, etc. So to be able to, you know, project and dialogue and communicate the faith to somebody who the only reference points they have about the faith is those reference points, and that they're able to kind of say, I actually find this very interesting, you know. I think that has been really, really good.
That is like trust building, and maybe like serious curiosity, I think, is the next phase. Threshold of I'm referencing Sherry Waddell's like threshold chart of conversion. First you got to build trust, and they get curious and they start seriously seeking, and they're thinking about becoming a disciple, and then they're actually intentional disciples. So for me, it's very fun to place, you know, audiences, where are they? Because I think Father Giussani said there's nothing more unreasonable. Well, no, I don't think he said it. Maybe Reynold Niebuhr said it. There's nothing more unreasonable than an answer to a question that hasn't been asked. So I don't want to answer questions for an audience that hasn't asked them yet.
Yes. Yeah.
So I really appreciate that these women, there's like enough of a interest in the faith to be listening to the podcast, and they're starting to like fill in the intellectual gaps that, oh my gosh, maybe this is something relevant for my life. And so maybe it can move out of trust into curiosity, maybe into eventually, hopefully, serious seeking. And so forth. So that is
and it's kind of getting to know you too in the podcast, you know, that is kind of establishing that relationship that is kind of like, hey, she seems normal. You know, it's because
too.
she's kind of normal, so, you know. I think that helps. I think that you try anyway.
I love that. And so then with Beloved, with the college age, and we're at Endow, we have Endow groups on college campuses, but we want more, of course. You know, we want Endow not just at the, like, you know, what everybody would recognize as like super devout Catholic schools, but we want them at Catholic schools that maybe have really lost Catholic identity. Or in secular schools too. So how has the apostolate been for that?
And Beloved is kind of my favorite platform, I have to say. I love Hearts and Minds, but I think Hearts and Minds is kind of run by, I'm not the main person for Hearts and Minds. I'm kind of like the second in command kind of thing, if you call it that. But Beloved is very much, it was the first platform we launched. And in a sense, there was quite a few real live gatherings with Beloved, whereas Hearts and Minds, there wasn't, you know, because of COVID, basically. But I think it's been excellent, really, in a sense of, I think what happens, well, certainly for me, just seeing it, is that the straddling between college and being a young professional can be a very hard stage.
Absolutely.
Because in college,
most Catholics leave by 23, according to I think it's Bishop Barron that really brought out word on about that statistic. But actually, no, it was Sherry Waddell Informing Intentional Disciples that first pulled that out into my consciousness, and that was my story. I mean, I left before 23, so I was shocked to actually hear the median age is 14, but 80% of those who leave by 23. And I think that the Beloved demographic is like the key demographic.
Because I think there is that element of, I think in university you do, if you can acquire a support group, you have it. And then once you go into the young professional atmosphere and everything like that, you don't have that support group anymore. You know, you're not on the same campus, you're not in the same faculty with your friends and things like that, and it just gets lost. It just trickles down. It's not intentional. People just grow kind of further and further away from the Catholic faith. So that is certainly,
you need community. If you don't have the community, it's very difficult to stay in it.
It's really, I think as you know, we kind of look at you know, back in the day when everybody was in the same neighborhood and the same school and the same, you know what I mean? There was more geographically, it was easier to create that community. Now people are commuting like lunatics and stuff like that. So, yeah, so I really see the benefit of Beloved. I mean, I see the benefit of Hearts and Minds too, but there's more comeback.
Your heart and mind is in Beloved.
That's it, yeah.
Well, yeah, because they're peripheral groups. I mean, one of my big dreams is that Endow hosts, who have their own groups, would like all those like dormant charisms of evangelization.
Yeah.
Or just participants, Endow participants would say, you know what, I'm going to go to my local college and I'm going to start an Endow group there, and I'm going to find some, you know, college student who's going to kind of lead it, and I'm going to spiritually mother and mentor her, and then she's going to lead this group at this campus. And invite anybody that has any shred of Catholic identity into this and just study John Paul II's letter to women.
Yeah, totally.
That's what I hope, because for so many women of an older generation, like all of us actually, who just did not get good catechesis, right, and have to make up for it, and like Endow has been such a huge like damage control to like learning and like accessing church documents and like good catechesis. But at some point, like then all these Endow hosts and spiritual mothers in like a much more radical way, like at least this is the prayer in my heart. This is what's on my heart and mind. We'll go out into that beloved demographic and say like, hey, we want to make this proposal for these women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and I think there's an element of the support that they need. It's just, I think when it's all about kind of starting small, I have to say, because I think it is a thing, and especially you'd know from the social media platforms and everything like that, that you can really get caught up in numbers, you know.
Totally.
You know, because social media drives you to focus on numbers. I mean, that's how they work. It's like a little dopamine machine, you know. But to always kind of, we would always talk about this idea of Emma in Athlone. Athlone is a small town in Ireland. Small town. It's a town in Ireland, okay, and it's in the Midlands, and I'd always talk about kind of like imaginary girl, Emma in Athlone. She's sitting in the last bench of the church. She doesn't know how to start, where to start. And just to kind of visualize somebody like that, and to personify who you're really talking about. You know, it's not about numbers, it's about that individual, you know. And yeah, to always kind of be real about it in that sort of sense, because it is true with platforms, it does get I certainly get hooked on the whole thing of, you know, how many hits in the website, how many whatevers, you know, what's the impact of it.
You know, it's so awesome you're mentioning this, because we also have this discussion at Endow all the time, because of course we look at the numbers because that's the only like concrete data that we have.
Yeah, exactly.
But then we always take a step back and remind ourselves that like if we have less numbers, but like women who are gathering themselves, who are like amazing Endow hosts, because really Endow is the Endow hosts who are out there hosting these small groups. If these Endow hosts are like, if we're helping the hosts, if we're equipping the hosts to then go off and be mentors and hosts and facilitators to all these other women, the quality of companionship and of fruitful discipleship that increases. And you cannot put a number on
you cannot measure that.
You cannot measure that. You absolutely can't. So and that's worth everything. Like
it is really about quality, because I think it is true. I mean, there's big impact sessions that you can have, you know, which I think have their place, like, you know, World Youth Days or those kind of things. They do have their place and are needed, but ultimately it is about that one-on-one accompaniment of people. And the quality and reality, you know, that level of, if we're all called to holiness, and that level of holiness, it does need that kind of deep rootedness that needs time. It just needs time. So
it absolutely does. And you can't really, I mean, Christianity is about like discipleship. How do you disciple with attention, with detail, with care, you know, hundreds of people? You can only really like mentor a few at a time anyhow. and that's like, to me, the most exciting thing is accompanying somebody in their path.
Yeah.
I mean, I live for it.
You had John Cudback, did you?
Did you know him?
We organized a seminar there last weekend with him. Actually, he was
Seminar where?
here. Like, I mean, he zoomed in for it.
What?
Yeah, it was a virtual seminar.
Oh, it was a virtual. I was like,
yeah.
I'm not invited to this.
I feel like all our virtual seminars are actually real, because it's kind of like. But yeah, we had him for 2 sessions on friendship, and it was excellent, I have to say.
He is amazing. Well, his book on friendship, and I'm having him again on the podcast. He's like another Father John Henry for me. Like, because the quality is so. He's just incredible.
Yeah,
teacher.
He's very deep.
He's extremely profound. He has the woman of the household, the man of the household course.
Yes, yeah, I saw that. Yes,
what I'm going to be interviewing him on. But as I'm listening to them now, in preparation for those podcasts, oh my gosh, you cannot wash the dishes and listen to him. You must pay attention. There is profundity in there that I mean,
yeah, no, it's true.
I can't get through one of them because at minute 7, he said something so mind blowing that I need to go think about it for an hour. And that's not efficient, but it is good. He is amazing. So
yeah, no, it's funny actually. The participants who were at the seminar for us, they were all messaging in, kind of saying, "Can you record this? Because I want to assimilate it, but I feel like I'm just writing notes furiously, you know."
Oh yeah, no, he's awesome. He's living the good life. He used to have these Bethany weekends. Did you hear about these?
No.
But obviously pre-COVID, he would invite a number of applicants to come spend a weekend at his home in Virginia. I mean, they would come in their home, food cooked by his wife, and it would just be like philosophizing.
Yeah.
Looking at beauty and discussing, the good things in life. I mean, he's living a full Catholic life, that guy.
Yeah, he's a great man.
It's beauty in every single way, and such a huge heart. So, okay. Before we say goodbye, I wanted to, which is so heartbreaking to me, I wanted to say, you had mentioned to me earlier about the connection with Africa, the connection with Ireland. And I thought that was so fascinating. So can you just say a few words about that? I adore this. Like, this makes me feel like God is real. I mean,
it was just when we were talking previously about the history of the Catholic Church in Ireland, I brought up the thing of Africa, because Ireland has an incredible, I would say, an incredible connection with certainly a number of countries in Africa. I hate saying Africa, because Africa is a continent. It's massive.
It's a number of countries. Yeah,
it's a number of countries. So, but certainly, like, I think with the Irish and Catholicism, there's always been a sense of a missionary spirit, and that sense of leaving the shores, and going to evangelize, possibly because the country was quite small. So it was kind of like, let's go and evangelize.
I needed to let's go evangelize.
And a number of missionaries, I mean, when we think it over the 100 years, basically since the 1920s, a lot of Irish missionaries went to Africa, a lot, and made a real positive impact. I was telling you about Nigeria, that their patron saint to St. Patrick in Nigeria.
Things that, like, should I have known that? Should I be embarrassed that I didn't know that?
No, I mean,
because that is so cool. I mean, who doesn't love Nigeria? Like, Nigerians suffer for Jesus beyond belief.
Yeah,
they're so
no, it's really, and it's lovely actually to see now. What's happening now is that a number of priests from Africa are coming to Ireland to evangelize Ireland.
Yeah, I mean, this is like so beautiful.
So it's like a two-sided an equal collaboration, which is fantastic. We're both helping each other. So at one stage I was at mass there, and this priest, I think he was from Nigeria, and he was saying, you helped us, now we're going to help you. Oh
my gosh, that's incredible. I mean, that's incredible friendship. Incredible friendship.
Mm.
Have you been to Nigeria? Have you gone?
No, I would love to go.
Okay.
I
So
have to say.
going,
Yeah, yeah.
all this, because it's so moving to me that like the depth. Again, I'm going to hold up my socks, right? Like
Yeah.
St. Patrick in Ireland is like this, has become this, which is fine. But, here the faith of Irish people going and evangelizing these countries, namely
Yeah.
Nigeria and others in Africa, and like Nigerian Catholics are real Christians. I mean,
Yeah.
real. And the source of that was like through the witness of St. Patrick and Irish missionaries, and then now they're repaying the favor by re-evangelizing Ireland for the faith. I mean, that is some awesome ping-ponging of the Holy Spirit. I mean,
Yeah, no, it's amazing how God's plan works, actually. It's
yeah,
wonderful to see. Mm.
it's just amazing. So thanks for sharing about that. And I guess we have to, we already talked a little about the feminine genius, the importance of the intellectual life, but is there anything that you want to say in terms of just why that should be a value? Why is the life of the mind so crucial for Catholic women and for the feminine genius?
I just think it's really important to sustain your faith. I think it's necessary. And I think when you're intellectualizing your faith, when you're doing faith and reason, you're working through, the encyclicals or the catechism of the Catholic, in the moment you feel like, is this making any impact in my life?
That's a great point.
But I think it has a trickle effect, like the drip of that over time colors your vision of your faith over time. And to just have the faith in it, when you're doing a course or when, you're kind of going, God, this is tough,
Right.
Over time it does seep in.
Does seep in if you kind of commit to wrestling with it.
Yeah. And know that you're able for it too. Like not to think, oh, this is too much for me, or
Oh, I know, that's a pet peeve of mine.
But to know that you're able, that you're intellectually able for it, and just persevere in it. I think I remember I used to study philosophy, and oh my God, I hated it. But now I absolutely love it. It's one of the things that has really, really helped my faith over time. Is a deeper understanding of philosophy and theology together. But I used to struggle big time with it.
You have to have humility. You have to have humility for the intellect. It takes a lot of humility. And it's funny because when you think about saints like Edith Stein, who are like intellectual giants, who write in their, she writes about her intellectual limitations and her lack of capacity, and and all this, and other saints like even Cardinal Newman, who's genius, who's like writing about, I just don't feel so good about this. Like it is part and parcel of the life of the mind and growing that you're just going to feel not good. Like it is hard.
Yeah. It doesn't come naturally. I think to maybe St. Thomas Aquinas, it came naturally to him.
Oh yeah. But St. Thomas, who says that he had understood every word that he had ever read. Annoying. But anyway, except for St. Thomas, the rest of us, as you were saying.
The rest of us struggle, and it's good. I think the struggling is good because it works its way in nicely,
I love how you said that and expressed that. I think that's so inspiring. And I guess lastly, we just have to say, do you, as an Irish woman, Irish Catholic woman, do you look to kind of like Irish American figures like Fulton Sheen and Father Peyton?
It's funny you say it, actually, because I was reading up on Father Peyton there a couple of months ago, and I really didn't know much about him, but yeah, it is lovely to say. It is a funny sort of thing, not funny, but in a sense, to see how people who have migrated, like a lot of migration from Ireland happened to the States in the 1950s, basically, or the 1850s, sorry. And it trickled over, like from the 1850s onwards, it just, decades drip. But to see people that, their generations go back, and yet they have that sense of Irish connection.
Totally.
Is hugely admirable, actually, I have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So certainly. I mean, we do look a lot to the States in Ireland for the Catholic faith, and certainly people like Father Mike Schmitz, Bishop Barron. There's.
But he's not Irish. Is he
Irish? No,
okay.
no. But he might have about 10%. You never know.
He does. It's like everybody's kind of Irish, so
yeah. But when Bishop Barron came, he came for the World Meeting of in 2018 when the Pope Francis was here.
yeah,
He came and gave a lecture, and it was just,
is this who we're talking about?
yeah, he was there for it, and it was just absolutely electric is the best word I can get. Like people were standing ovation, just because
What did you talk about?
he talked about the family, because it was the World Meeting of Families, and its connection, and he quoted a lot of Pope Francis, which was very nice, actually, I have to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's an amazing, when you see him in real life, I have to say he's an amazing speaker.
Yeah. I don't know. He's helped he's helped the church, period, but the American Catholic Church revival so much. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a little bit too reading into things, but I don't know. I just feel his huge heart for the church, like his great pride and his great love and pain for places that the church is really suffering. So
yeah.
I also really love Father McGivney, the Knights of Columbus.
Okay. Yeah.
Follow him?
No, don't know anything. No.
Oh gosh, I love the Knights of Columbus, and I just love Father. There's a short documentary on his canon, like he has been beatified on his site.
Okay.
That you might want to check out. I mean, it's
cool.
Neat. Those Irish Catholic immigrants that just formed beautiful spaces of incredible hospitality. So, Catherine, thank you so much for being on the Endow podcast.
Not a bother. Delighted.
Not a bother. I'm going to say that. I just love it. Not a bother. I love it. Well, I hope to meet you in person one day. Hope to come to
You'll have to come over. You'll have to come over to Ireland.
I would love to. And as I think I've told you before, my Egyptian mother says that her soul is Irish. So no matter what the DNA says, her soul is Irish. So
yeah,
I gotta get
definitely. So yeah. You should come over.
Thank you so much, and happy feast of St. Patrick.
Thank you. Happy feast to you.
Thank you.